Hello and welcome to the first section of Chapter 8. We're going to be working with properties of exponents in this chapter. It kind of splits up into two chapters. 8.1, 8.2, and 8.3 are all involving exponents, and then we get into 8.4, 8.5, and 6, which are more applications to the first three sections. All right, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking exponents, we're going to be expanding them, because what exponents are, exponents basically mean repeated multiplication. So 5 squared is 5 times 5. 5 cubed is 5 times 5 times 5. So that's what we're going to be working with, is expanding things and then simplifying them. So a squared is a times a, and then a to the third is a times a times a. So really, you have a multiplied by itself 5 times. If you have numbers that have different bases, you cannot multiply the 2 and the 4 together to get this 8 here, and then so it's just not. It's not. The two values aren't the same. So if you did 2 times 2 times 2, and then times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4, versus 8 multiplied by itself 8 times, the difference in these two numbers is drastic. Okay, so take a look at these two here. Quite different numbers. 8,000 versus 16 million. So don't do that. Okay, here we go. We're just gonna be going through some sample problems. We have 5 times 5 times 5, and it's a lot of writing, and so that's 5 to the 6, and then 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. That's your 5 to the third. So altogether, that's 5 to the 9th power. And then here I have, if you're asked to rewrite or simplify, you can write 5 to the 9th. If you're asked to solve, you're actually going to have to multiply 5 by itself 9 times. And then you can use the calculator for that. But most of the problems that we're going to be working with, this is going to be okay. Okay, here's just a bunch of sample problems. I'll go through a couple of them. I think I just did this one here. I'm going to not do that one there. X times self 3 times, and then x times self 4 times. So we have x times self 7 times. M, and then 6 more. And then 1 more. So you have 6, 7, 8, 9, m to the 9th power. Basically, all these problems are pretty similar. As long as you're, I call this expanded form. There are properties that the book will show you. I generally won't teach those because kids get them mixed up. At first it seems like there's only a couple of them, but then what happens is there's too many of them, kids get all mixed up. So here we have x's and y's, so we expand it out, and then sorry about that, I got cut off by an announcement. So yeah, this one here has x's and y's, so you're going to write it out, and then basically it's kind of like combining like terms. Put all the x's together, put all the y's together. All right, here we have power to a power. So we have exponents to exponents. So we have x times x, and then we have that to the 4th power. So you have x times x 4 different times. So you have x times x, x times x, x times x, and x times x. That's x to the 8th power. Here we have x times self 3 times, y times self twice, and then that's squared. So we're going to write that out 2 times. So we have x times self 6 times, and then y times self 4 times. Here I have 2x, x, y, and then I'm just going to do that 3 times. So I have 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8, not 6. X to the 6th power, y to the 3rd power. Here I have negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. That's a lot of negative 2's. And then I have to do that 5 times. Oh boy. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to copy paste this. and you can see how many negative 2's we have. All right, we have negative 2 times itself 20 times. And that is actually the same as 2 to the 20th power, because if you multiply all the negatives together, they're going to give you a positive. Now, had it been negative 2 to an odd power, let's just say it's negative 2 to the third. Negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. This would be negative 2 to the third, and you need that negative sign there because the answer is going to end up being a negative. But negative 2 to an even power, these are going to multiply to a positive, and those are going to multiply to a positive, so you have 2 to the fourth. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, here I have AB times AB times AB. I have A to the third, B to the third. Nothing fancy about that one. These are products to a power. Now this one here, I don't want you to multiply the 23 times 17 because that will be a disaster. This would be a very, very, very large number. I have 23 times 17 5 times. So it's 23 to the 5th power and then 17 to the 5th power. Here's why I like expanded form, because you really get to see the numbers multiplied out. So like a lot of kids will write down the answer 9x squared y squared, but when you put into expanded form, you see that it's actually 9 times 9, which is 81, and then x squared y squared. A lot of kids will make that mistake if they don't use expanded form because they don't see the 2 9's there. So, and then a couple of problems that have slight differences. Take a look here with the negative sign and where it's located. This is negative 4z times negative 4z. And kind of like before when I was showing you guys, those negatives are going to multiply to a positive. This is negative 4z times 4z, which is negative 16z squared. So the location of the minus sign is significant. And then here I have 2p, which is 2p cubed. This is already simplified, actually. This one is 2p times 2p times 2p. This 3 belongs to both values, so you have actually 8p to the third. So these are also slightly different but very significant. And then this one here, you can multiply again. So the p is only being cubed there because the 2 isn't in parentheses. So be very, very careful with what you're actually expanding out. So here you have 2 times 6, which is 12, and then p times itself 8 times. And then here's just a bunch of problems where they kind of just throw everything together. Not a bunch, I guess just a couple. We have 2x, x, and then that twice because it's being squared, and then x times itself 4 times. So I have 4x to the 6 tenth power. Again, just be careful with how you're expanding. This 3 only belongs to the x. This 2 belongs to both of the 2 and the x cubed. All right, this one's going to be pretty intense because I have to write that out 5 times. I should have picked a smaller number. And then I have to write this out only twice, so that's kind of nice. Is this tedious? Sort of. All right, let's count how many x's I have. 1, 2, 3. I got 5 over here, and I got 8 over there, so x times itself 13 times. My y's, I missed a y right here. I have 10 there and 2 over here, so that's 12. My z's, I have 15 on the left and 2 on the right. That's 17. So the math isn't really that difficult. It's just a little time-consuming. All right. There's your assignment. These are some neat problems. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, you kind of got to work backwards on those. The rest should be manageable. Thanks, guys, for tuning into the first section of chapter